I guess it's that time of year again. We're all trying to get organized in our crafty space. Join me in the creative design team where we share our best tips. Are you like me and you're trying to find the best solution for your cardstock? I'm trying to find an easy way to store my 12 by 12 cardstock for scrapbooking. I have this expedite here and I waited, I don't know how long to get these dividers. And I'm finding that these dividers are somewhat limited, and I'm trying to be more organized and keep everything nice and tidy. I started off last year by putting everything back in bags and putting a label on all of them. But I'm finding that this is not the best solution. Last year, the creative design team shared their crafty spaces, and I have to tell you that I was very impressed when I saw Erin's space because it was tiny, but it was so organized. So she shared how she puts all of her cardstock in these great paper envelopes from Close to My Heart. Well, guess what? Let me show you very quickly here. I'll try and find a little space. After purchasing them, I realized that, these don't fit. Well, they don't fit just yet, but I'm going to show you how I'm going to make these fit, and no, I'm not going to cut them. All right, so the first thing I have to do is I have to pull out all of my cardstock. They're all in bags. So we're going to get rid of these. And you can see that I have tons of cardstock, glitter paper. And once this is empty, I have to pull this insert out, which is limiting. But now these will fit. So it's a matter of transferring everything in here and making it pretty. Okay, so this part is a little tricky to film, but I'm going to show you the process on how I've been transferring my cardstock that I've kept in the bags, and I had labeled the bags last year when I did a major cleanup, but I'm finding that it's really hard to pull them in and out. So I did invest in these paper envelopes right here, and you know what? If you check the Black Friday sales or the Boxing Day sales, they often come on sale. So I thought I'd let you know. So basically you will get, in a pack, you get 3. Let's open one up. They are nice and sturdy. They've got the labeling and they do close right here at the back, and you can tuck that right in here. But I'm thinking that I'm probably not going to close these because they're going to be nice and snug in my expedite. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create little labels. Hopefully they're going to stand the test of time. What I'm using for that are these cardstock samplers. As a maker with Close to My Heart, you can order this, and if you have a maker, you could ask them about it. You don't need these, but it kind of saved me a step of writing on them with a label maker, and I really wanted to see the cardstock color. So right now, I've gone through all of the neutral colors, and I'm starting into the greens. So I'm going to show you the process on what I'm doing. And I tried to make it simple because I didn't want to measure everything because there's quite a bit of cardstock for me to organize. So basically I've got my envelopes right here, and these are my next set. I've been organizing these 7 at a time because the little label die that I'm working with, this one right here, it is from the Thin Cut Set tabs, which is Z3983. It is no longer available, but you might have this. And I found that this was a really good size to work with, and I'm going to add them to my envelopes. And you just have to make sure when you start adding them that your name, you can read it, and whatever orientation you go into, you stay to the same side. Ask me how I know. All right, so let's go for the next set of 7, and I'm going to take my cardstock, I'm going to move it off to the side. And my next color, and I am following roughly this kind of rainbow color from Close to My Heart, but I am inserting a few retired colors that I still have a lot of and I still love very, very much. These are all current colors, and I still have a little bit of julep. So these are the little samplers. This is how they come, and I've kept pretty much all of them to reference once in a while. And you know what? This is the day that I get to appreciate keeping these little things right here. So I'm going to add julep, and I'm going to insert julep in between these two colors here. The next thing in the process, because I'm going to be using this little guy here, I am going to cut my little pieces. These come in 3x3 and my machine only accepts a 2.5. And I'm cutting from both sides because I want to make sure that when I put my die, I don't have to measure, and I can just go ahead and do this as quickly as possible. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut all of these, and then we're going to move to the die cutting. The next step in this little assembly line is to die cut all of your tabs, and I'm simply lining up the cardstock name and the bottom of the die with the bottom of the cardstock. Again, I don't want to have to sit here with a ruler and measure everything out. And I decided to use my little sidekick because it's easier, it's smaller, and definitely faster to get this done. So you can see here, this is a retired color, but you can see how that's shaping up. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut all of my little tabs. The next step is to add red line tape. I found that this is really, really sticky and it doesn't come off easily. And yes, I've had to redo a few of my labels only because I had put them on the wrong side or I didn't line them up properly. So I am going to add red line tape to all of the backs, and then I'm going to show you how I'm lining these up. And again, I am not measuring because I just want to get this done. What I'm finding is that in my Expedite, I did have 2 cube space for my cardstock. And I think by transferring these into these nice plastic sturdy envelopes, it's actually condensing all of my cardstock, but it's not damaging my cardstock, and that's what I like. I found that when I was using just the regular plastic bags that they come in, which is fine, they were kind of losing their shapes, and also I was damaging some of them. So something to be aware of. Definitely this is not a system for everyone, but I do hope that you find some inspiration to help you along when you're trying to store 12 by 12 cardstock, because we want to keep it straight, we want to keep it damage free from the sun and all of that. So this is turning out to be a nice little solution. All right, so I've gone ahead and I've added the red line tape on all of my little tabs, and I'm just using a bone folder here and I'm just burnishing that in. I find that it sticks better, and also it's easier to remove the plastic backing of the red line tape. That can always be a little bit frustrating because it tends to stick on everything. The next order for me is evergreen, and I want to make sure that my label is to my left, and I'm going to start right here at the top. I am going to line up, make sure you open your flap. I'm going to line up the first one right up here. I chose this one because it's got a nice straight edge and it made it really easy for me to line everything up. I'm going to take my next one. I'm not going to put the cardstock in here right away. And I'm just going to open my flap. And I'm going to line up my 2 envelopes. Hopefully you can see that. And I'm going to go for the next tab. So I've got my next tab. I'm lining up my 2 envelopes and I'm going on to the front one and I'm slightly overlapping. And do you see how sticky that is? I am slightly overlapping the previous one just at the tip. I'm going to move this here to the side of me and then I'm going to fold that back. And there's my next one. I have a little system off camera. So I've moved the previous one and I'm going to keep this one here. I'm going to move it to the side. I'm going to go to the next one. And then I'm going to bring this one back. I'm going to bring my next envelope. Make sure that the direction of the envelope is going the right way. And then I always put the new envelope at the front. Makes it nice and easy. And then I slightly overlap the tip. And then I fold back. So this one goes here. This one I keep. And I'm just going to keep on moving on with these colors. For the last 2, I'm going to take my last one here, just so that I can put this one more centered. I'm going to use my last of my 7. And if you're using the same die that I'm using, you can squeeze in 7. And that way they are all staggered and you can see them when they're up on your shelf. So this one right here is the last one in my row of 7. And I'm going to add it right here at the bottom. Again, I like this one here because it's easy to line up. So I've got this one. So now I need to bring both of them in. I need to bring another envelope. For the last one right here, I've got the one that I want to put my label on is at the front. And then I can just center it across the last 2. Because the overlap is slightly bigger now. I could have measured everything, but let's face it, I don't think anybody wants to do that. All right, so here are my envelopes. Let's bring them back in. And this is my series of cardstock. And you can see that they're all nice and labeled. So I'm going to transfer all the cardstock in here. In case you're wondering, yes, you can put a full pack in one of these envelopes. That was another reason why I really liked it. And you can see here that my cardstock was starting to curl. But when I put it in here, it instantly gives it a lot of support and stability. So I do like that quite a bit. I'm saving quite a bit of space by doing this. So yes, it's an investment in time and an investment in product, but I do feel that I am saving quite a bit of space for my cardstock, and now I know that it's going to be protected. This is what it looks like when they're nice and full, and when I add them to my Expedite, I'm going to see all of the pieces, and they're actually going to go in this way. So I'm going to show you that in a moment. So what if you don't have these really handy little cardstock samplers with the names on them? You can absolutely make your own. And I tried to mimic the font that they used here, and I just ended up using Century, I believe. I cut myself a 4x6 piece of cardstock, and this way I can just pop it into my little Epson printer. And I printed myself a label for my retired cardstock. So it's going to go very much like the other ones. So I just wanted to show you that you can absolutely do this. If you don't have these little samplers, you can make your own. And you know what? You can actually print them a little bit bigger. So that is an option for you to try as well. I'm making quite a bit of progress on transferring all of my cardstock into these envelopes, and I really like it. For one, they're nice and big, and I find that when you pull your cardstock, you're not going to damage the corners of your cardstock, so that's one thing. And because you can see through them, of course you can see through the bags, the dark side is always in the front for me, and the light side is on the back. And the reason for that is that, again, a tip that I picked up from Erin, I'm going to add all of my cut pieces in the envelopes themselves. That way I know that I'm going to be able to use them before pulling a full sheet. Now my previous sorting, if you want, I have the same envelopes and then I just put them in here, teal, blue, purple, and I dropped a whole bunch of colors in here. But I don't know about you, I'm not always good at going back into my scraps. So this way here, I know that before I cut into a full sheet, I'm going to grab the scrap that is right here tucked away with the same color. I'm going to sort through these. I'm going to pull out the colors and I'm going to put them in their respective envelopes. And I think that it's going to be a much better way to use my scraps, because let's face it, we all want to use them, but when we're in a rush, we often reach out for a full 12 by 12 sheet. So that's going to be another thing that I'm going to sort through during this process. I'm going to do a recap here. We're going to speed through it. When you do your labels, don't forget to open the flap for the first one. And then when you lay them together, you slightly overlap that little tab and you should be able to put down 7 of them. Now, I am using a retired die, but I do feel that tab dies are readily available. It's just a case of finding one that fits the side of these envelopes. This one here, I was able to add 7 of them and I was able to stagger them all so when they're up on my shelf I can see all of the colors. Now for the last one right here, one last time, you use the last one in your series of 7 and then you bring in another envelope and then you just add the last one in between those two just to have a nice spacing for all of them. And that's pretty much it. I think that this is going to be a good solution. Honestly, I'm not sure how the cardstock is going to last, but you know what? I'll probably redo them when I get new colors in the new year. For now, I think that this is a great option for me, and I really like that I was able to save quite a bit of space. I just have to put in all of my scraps in here, but let me show you how it looks now that it's done. And this is what they look like when they are all back in the Expedite. One thing that I didn't really anticipate is that they all fit in one cube. Take a look at how pretty that is. I'm pretty excited because now I can do all my specialty cardstock glitter paper in the other cube by simply removing that insert. Hopefully this cardstock idea will help you in your crafty space. Don't forget to check out the CDT playlist on the right and have yourself a fantastic day. Bye for now.